So there are some algorithms, there are many algorithms actually, but we'll be seeing only two of them for here, and our major interest will be looking forward what that is. But for now, one of them is age boxes. Now, if you're not aware of, let me tell you, there is something known as counter maps. Okay. Now, counter maps gives you all the boundaries of your images. Don't look at here. There's nothing to see. But you might have studied somewhere. No, you might have seen what are counter maps. So it makes use of that thing. How does it make use of that thing? We have to see that. So let's take an example. Let's see this lady. Now, what are counter boxes? Counter, they draw the lines around your boundaries. Okay. So you can see this lady here. What the age boxes will do is it will draw first of all counter map of a given image. So you can see these are the counter maps. This one, this one, this one, this one. These are just like boundaries of this provided images. Now it has detected that this area is having something inside of it, and you can send this area. In this image, it has detected this thing, a bicycle. In this image, it has detected a person. This might not make sense, and this might not have any sense out of it. Okay, it has. Okay, you can see there is a horse inside of this image, this portion. Here also you can see there is a cow inside this portion. But how did it find it? How, with the help of the contour, it came to know that this is the portion and we should be sending this portion to our CNN architecture and nothing else. At least we saved other computation, right? We didn't went for this all portion. We saved our computation. But how did it came to know? The magic is, there isn't something like magic, but let me tell you what happened here is, okay, where is the eraser? Okay. So what it does is it finds out, first of all, it initiates a sliding window again. Okay. It will have a sliding window. And what the sliding window will do is it will find out the area where you have full contours inside of it. It will count the full contours divided by total contours out of that image. So if you see here, you have the full contour of a lady in this box, and divided by the full contours, you might say this is a full contour, this small box over here. There might be a small edges there which will be forming a contour, but this is the portion of an image which is having a contour. And when you calculate like total number of contour inside that box divided by total number of contour out of that box, it will result higher value. And that's how it detects like this is the portion of image that is of interest. Now the question comes, we were running off this sliding window, right? We don't want sliding window. Why didn't we want it sliding window? But because in last scenarios we used to have a sliding window. After each slide we used to send that to CNN, and CNN used to take a huge amount of time for classification of those images. Now though we are using a sliding window, but imagine it, we are not sending all the images, right? We are not sending all the portion of images. Now we are sending some selected portion of images. So in this way, you don't have to use your CNN architecture again and again. Just using it once for the region of interest told by your age boxes algorithm, it bears you good output, right? And your computation will also be reduced, and your time required will also be reduced. So this is how age box algorithm works. So I wanted you guys to be aware of age boxes, like this kind of algorithm. This is how the people bring intelligence into their algorithms. Okay, so we'll repeat it again. Like, what was the formula? We will find out the total number of full contours inside of that image, inside of that sliding window, and outside of it. And whichever box will give us a bigger value, that will be our region of interest, and that is the only region we'll be sending to our classification algorithm, or let's say classification architecture. And that's how we saved our time. We are not going to CNN again and again for the portion of image which is not having anything inside of it. Okay, so next algorithm that is of our interest is selective search. Now selective search, was something like selective search is something which will be helpful for our CNN family as well. So that's why I want you guys to know about selective search. What a selective search will be doing is it will be forming. Okay, just look at this image and just look at this outcome of a selective search. At the first iteration of a selective search, it draws some patches, right? Now these patches are drawn with keeping in mind with respect to color, texture, and might be the combination. Okay, what combination is, you will get to understand. But texture and color. So let's say if you look at the sky, okay, the sky is having same kind of color. So it might be, it is colored as something like light yellow. And if you look towards this this pole, it is colored something like yellow, right? After that, what happens, it is having intelligence inside of it that it can think of, if the textures are similar, it will combine those separate patches as well, and you will be reduced with this kind of patches. Like you will be having less number of patches in the next iteration. And you can see we have a same color for whole cow. So this cow, wherever that is in that image, you're getting a similar color for it. For another cow, you are getting a red color. For sky, you have some different color. There will be some misleading also, like this bars are there, right? Some wires are there and it is not able to detect that thing properly, and some different color it has done. But now you have reduced the interested regions, right? You have, how many regions do you have to send to the classification task? You will send this yellow, maybe a red, maybe, and blue, maybe, and this red color pole, maybe, and you will ask your model to predict on it. So if you're not getting it right now, we'll see in the further slides as well. Okay, one more thing I want you guys to know is SVM. We talked about it, right? Okay, that thing will be useful in RCN family as well when you proceed further. But before that, let's see about selective search. So when selective search was introduced, it was in 2012. So 2012 was the year when selective search came into picture, and this algorithm was able to segment out objects inside an image. Okay, now segmentation is not easy. It's something different. This is something hard. Okay, if you see this, if I ask you, there are multiple kittens inside this image, and if I ask you to differentiate between them, so what will you say? You might say that okay, so you might say that let's differentiate based on the colors. You might say that this is having different color than this might be having slightly different color than this, and you will be able to say that this is a different kitten and this is the different kitten. But imagine a second task. You have a chameleon, that too in forest, let's say on a tree, and now you see, can you differentiate between colors? Now through your eyes you can, but imagine it for an algorithm, imagine it for a computer to do that task. You can't do it, right? This is also green, this is also green. How will you differentiate them? So the next thing comes into the picture is texture. So based on texture, you can say that this object is different from the background. If you come here, it might not be the case, because all of them are having same kind of texture, right? These are differentiated based on color, and this image of chameleon is differentiated based on texture. So imagine what and all things might be inside the selective search algorithm, which is taking this intelligence into picture and differentiating and making the segments out of it. Okay, one more task, one more difficulty for it is, let's say you want to segment out a full figure of a man. But look at it, the face color and his body color, like he's wearing a sweater. So look at it, on the basis of color, you won't be saying that this belongs to the same object, like this face belongs to this body. If you say on the basis of texture, this is also not the case. The texture of sweater is different than the texture of his face. So imagine it, how difficult it might be. Now look at this image. Let's say you want to segment out a whole car from an image. Now look at this color of a car. This is white. Now look at the alloy wheels. Those are red. So on the basis of color, you can't say that this both things are together. If I say texture, as well as texture is also not the same, right? This is a plain kind of surface. This isn't a plain kind of surface. So just imagine how intelligent the selective search algorithm must be to segment this thing together. So it takes into this kind of thing consideration: texture, color, and another thing which is known as combination. So it is able to find out that yes, this is a will which is a closer to this kind of object, and it fits well inside this curve. So it belongs to same object, and I should color this whole object as same with same color, and the will should also get the same color. Okay, so I guess I made you aware of what the importance and what the difficulties are, what how complicated the selective search algorithm might be. Okay, let's take one more example. This was published in the paper itself, selective search. So you can see there is one lady, there is one television. So when it starts, when the selective search algorithm starts, it's randomly based on the color and the texture. It just randomly allocates them some segments or say colors. And in the next recursive steps, what it does is it combines different segments on the basis of texture as well as color as well as combination. What was the combination? Combination was like if two different objects are like they are fitting into each other, they will be a same object, and hence they should be colored as same. So look at this. Okay, just look at this, how intelligent it is. And the next step, it is again iterating it, and it is able to reduce the number of segments, and you can see the segments. And now you have the region of interest. You can just send this portion, maybe this color of portion, and you will be able to detect that there it is a television, and here it is a lady. Okay, so I guess you got the feeling of what selective search algorithm works like. It generates some initial sub-segmentation based on color, texture, sizes, and shapes. Combine them based on their shape, similarity, textures, and size similarity. And finally, you have some regions with you, and you can send only those regions to your classifier so that you don't have to go again and again to your classifier architecture. And you can save your time as well as the computation. Now let's jump on RCNN's family. So RCNN is also known as, it is known as region-based convolutional neural networks. And this is the person who was very much intelligent because he took all the things together and he built something known as RCNN. Okay, he proposed this thing into 2014. So we knew that this selective search was introduced in 2012. So he took use of that thing, feature extraction of the given region. So for that, he used to have this convolutional neural networks, because those, like in 2012, we have that AlexNet, right? So AlexNet became famous. So he took these things together and built something known as RCNN. And at the end, you have a classifier. Now, what the classifier is here, this classifier is SVM. So what we have seen in classical CNN, this classical CV2 approach, we have seen that they are using SVMs, and this guy also started using SVM there. So look at his architecture, what he did. So he had an image. After that, what he did is he found out, he ran a selective search on it. He found out the regions which were of interest. He passed only those regions to the convolutional neural network, and he used the same kind of arrangement what we have seen. We have a bounding box regressor as well as we have an SVM, which SVM will be giving you the confidence and the classification, and bounding box regressor will be telling you the boxes around those images or around your objects. So he was pretty much smart. He knew. AlexNet was introduced in 2012. You have your bounding box regressor before that. You have selective search in 2012. He took help of them and he just put this thing together, and he got something which is far more powerful for object detection at that point. And that's why I want you guys to know about background of all these algorithms. You just don't know what kind of thing will be helpful for your kind of approach, for your kind of project. Okay, just for your knowledge, SVM was introduced in 1995. Just imagine the 1995 technology coming into use in 2015 or 2014 for this kind of thing. And this is the motivation, right? This is why you should know about this kind of algorithms beforehand, if in future you're gonna engineer your own. Okay, let's go through it again once again fastly. So he has this proposals. How did he generate this proposal? He used that selective search kind of thing. Selective search kind of thing, use this texture and color. Based on that, it generates some segments, and only those segments he used to send to the network. So basically, he kept that something like 2000 he has mentioned in that paper. So he used to have those 2000 region of interest, and he used to feed it to the convolutional neural network. Outside of the convolutional neural network, you have two other things, which are SVM, and you have bounding box regressor, using which we have the classification as well as the bounding box around your objects. And what is the disadvantage over here? Disadvantage is you have 2000 forward passes. Now imagine you have 2000 region of interest, and you are passing it again to the CNN. If you don't use region proposal method, you might be going for sliding window. Now imagine how much sliding window might be giving. If the selective search himself is giving 2000 region of interest for performing good with the architecture. Imagine it. Now we don't want this thing. Don't want that our architecture should be invoked 2000 times for a single image. And also you have to train 3 different models here. You have to train your CNN architecture separately, which will be extracting out the feature. You have to train your SVM classifier separately. You have to train your linear box separately. And that's a time consuming task, right? And you want to remove this thing. And that's why there will be the emergence of fast and faster RCNN. So let's move further. So came the fast RCNN. Now the same person who invented RCNN came with fast RCNN in 2014. Just 1 year after, he came up with the thing which is known as fast RCNN. Now what the fast RCNN does is, instead of sending whole image, instead of doing the selective search on the image and then passing 2000 images to the CNN architecture to find out the features out of it, he used to first pass that image to convolutional neural networks. After that, he used to run a selective search on it. And after that, he used to do the region of interest pulling. Okay, so what the region of interest pulling can be? Okay, so you have an image, you pass it through your convolutional neural network, you have some more channels. Okay, you must be aware of channels if you're coming from CNN background. And now the features are not exactly looking just the way it used to look on the image. But then also you can run a selective search on it. You will get an object there, and you can do ROI pulling. You will pull out that portion through whole of the channels. You can imagine over here, if this is the portion which is indicated by the selective search algorithm, you can extract out just those portion out of that stack of features, feature maps, and then you can pass it to your classifiers. I mean to say that bounding box regressor and your confidence score SVM. Okay, so this is how you saved your time. How did you save your time? You're not passing 2000 image again and again to your CNN architecture. You're passing it only one time. After that, you are running a selective search algorithm on it. And after that, you are doing region of interest pulling, and that you are passing it to your class, further network, SVM or say bounding box regressor. So you'll use that cost. What is another thing which it helped with? I guess nothing. Just one thing it helped out with is you don't have to send 2000 images at a time. Okay, then came, okay, how does it look? It looks like this. You have a convolutional neural network. First, you pass the whole image through convolutional neural network, and then you have the region of interest pulling over here. Before that, you have selective search here that will be telling you the region of interest. You can pull them out, and then you have something known as fully connected layers, which after that, which ends with the bounding box regressor, as well as something different is here. Earlier, we were using SVM classifier, but in this architecture, he was using softmax classifier. Okay, let's move further. So as you can see, we are not passing 2000 images separately for a single image through the convolutional neural network. So we are saving our time. Okay, I was confused with it, but yeah, there is one more issue that it solved. The issue is we had 3 different networks, right? We had the convolution network, we have the support vector machine, we had the bounding box regressor, and we have to train it separately. But in this kind of architecture, what they have proposed, you don't have to do it separately. You can train it parallelly. All those things can be trained parallelly. All this 3 different classifiers can be done parallelly, and you will save a time there also. Okay, now came your faster RCNN. Okay, in faster RCNN, what they did is, similarly, they will be passing whole image through a convolutional neural network, and you will be getting feature maps. And now, one thing that was bottleneck in RCNN and fast RCNN was they were using selective search. Now, selective search is also computationally too costly, and we don't want that thing. So what they did is, they think of it as like, just imagine we have some boxes. Now, you know what kind of classification you are gonna do with your object detection thing. It might be a man, it might be a car, it might be a cow. So this box might be good for cow fit. This box might be good for your human fit. This might be good for a dog, let's say. So what they were doing is, they used to take the convolution feature map, which was the output of your convolution operation, and they used to run this kind of windows out of it. And whatever, if there is anything, they used to feed it to your classifier. Okay, this is how they saved their time again. We have to run fast because we are losing our time. We have some more things to see. Okay, so what do we see? We have seen fast RCNN, we have seen faster RCNN, we have seen the simple RCNN as well, and the whole thing was to reduce the computation. Okay, next thing which was introduced was masked RCNN. And in masked RCNN, can you do the classification or detection pixel wise? This was the task which we want to have. And to your no surprise, it was again Girshik who was also in this task in Facebook AI, and he did this task, and they had this architecture which was able to classify or detect a pixel wise. You can see there is a man, and pixel wise we can color them, and then we can detect them as well. There are cars, those are separated pixel wise, as well as you can have bounding box across it. And so Girshik was everywhere. He was into masked RCNN, he was into he was into RCNN, fast RCNN, faster RCNN as well. So remember that name, remember that personality. He is well known for object detection kind of algorithm industry. So now let's see how much faster this kind of algorithms are. So if you look to RCNN, these are like, it takes 50 seconds to process only one image. Just imagine how much computational it was to have a RCNN. Even though we had selective search, right? We were not using sliding window. Imagine using sliding window, you might be taking 5 to 10 minutes again. We had the intelligent tool that was selective search, and using that even we required 50 seconds to use RCNN for object detection. When it came to fast RCNN, it reduced down to 25x. It's like 2 seconds for an image. And when you go to faster RCNN, it reduced down to like 250x and 0.2 seconds per image. Now, why it is important to see how much time it takes? Say if you have a real-time application, you will definitely worry about it, right? Okay, it's going kind of boring, I guess, for you guys. Okay, let's have one question. Tell me what is like frames per second for your cell phones. Write in the comment section. Let me know how many frames per second your cell phone captures using whenever you start video recording. Come on, guys. Write in chat section. Let me know. 24, 24, 30, 30, 60, 90, 120, 20 and 30. Now imagine if this kind of algorithm is inside your cell phone, which takes like 0.2 seconds for processing just one image. Now, now we have this much advancements. We have like 30 frames per second, right? For 1080. Can you use this thing? 30 frames per second your cell phone is capturing, and this guy is taking 0.2 seconds to process that and to tell you that there is an object inside of it. Come on, you don't want it. This is too much slow, right? So we started with sliding window. We came to RCNN. I'm sorry for that. We are running late of time. That's why I take some fast jumps, but you guys can read about it. Sliding window we have seen. Then sliding window has some disadvantage. It was taking too many regions of an image into consideration, and we don't want that. We jump to selective search algorithm, which was used in RCNNs. And even though it was using selective search, it was taking 50 seconds per image. And then we had the advancement in fast and faster CNNs that you have seen, and those reduced the computation, and that's how we got to 2 seconds and 0.2 seconds for fast and faster CNN respectively. So whole study lies behind reducing the computational time.